Hello and welcome back to week 5 of the UKLC. My name's Dan Orcs Harrison and I'm joined by Keenan, Scoundrel Low. How are you doing, Keenan?
Good. You know, I've been a dicey week. You know, just gave birth to my son.
You gave birth yourself?
Yeah, personally. You know.
Oh wow.
It was a tough process, long labor, but I got through it, and now I have a beautiful baby boy.
And what's his name?
We'll actually let you vote on what we will name my son. That's what you haven't told me.
Okay, we're going to put a Twitter vote out for @LVP UK, #UKLC, to name my son. What do you want to call my son? We could call him Baby Champ, like we call the dog Champ.
Scoundrel Jr.
Scoundrel Jr., Dan Orcs Harrison. We can name my son. That's what we're going to do on the show today. So yeah, @LVP UK on Twitter if you want to get involved in the conversation here at the UKLC. We are going to have a poll out to name my son. I'd love to hear what names. I already have a name, by the way. It's not changing. But
oh really?
No, of course, Twitter. You're gonna name my son for the rest of his life. This is your time.
The dedication we have on this show.
If you want to catch up on all of these ridiculous intros for some reason, you can go to the LVP UK YouTube channel where we have all the highlights from all of this tournament, the Tower, as well as the previous tournament that we ran last year, the Forge of Champions. If you really want to go and see Haddo entering it for 10 weeks in a row, that's I'm joking, Haddo. I'm joking, Haddo.
I mean, he's at the top of the tower now. So.
He is. No, Haddo's had a brilliant season so far over on Daedalus, and Daedalus are our current Tower champions. Now, speaking of the Tower, we do have a man nearby to just run us through what the Tower is. I mean, Jake Hitbrain Matthews, my boy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am pretty nearby. You're literally there to me. Orcs, mate, his son's called Rupert. That's going to be our options on the Twitter vote as well. It's Rupert.
Yes, he is called Rupert.
I didn't know.
He didn't know the name.
You never mentioned it to me.
All right, let's have a little rundown of how the tournament works. I mean, if you guys haven't been watching for the last 5 weeks, first of all, where have you been? Come on, guys, get on it. But let's bring up the tournament bracket so you guys can have a little idea of how the tournament itself runs. Right, so day 1, we start with this round of 8 here, where Bulldogs Phelan will be our first game of the day. Then we've got M&M versus Enclave, Barrage versus XL, and Darkspawn versus Fnatic Rising. After today's games, we will have the bracket draw, where we'll be deciding who our teams facing up each other will be in the semi-finals. Then the winners of those games obviously go through to the finals. And then after that, one team will progress to the Tower Challenge to take on our current Tower champions, Diabolus, who were able to beat out M&M at the end of last week. So it's all to play for, really, because the standings have been shaken up. XL have lost two games in the round of 8 in a row. Fnatic as well, they got knocked out last week. It was a dire straits week for our 2 LEC sister teams, but for our UK resident teams, this was a great day for them. But obviously, we're going to be starting off with the dogfight, Phelan versus Bulldogs. So, guys, what game are you excited about, really?
Well, I think personally the first couple of games are going to be our closest. I mean, Bulldogs Phelan I think is going to be a really good matchup. Again, like Jake very nicely said, it's the dogfight, right? Yeah. But I think I'm personally looking forward to Enclave on M&M. If I'm going to call the closest game of the day, I think Enclave M&M is definitely going to be that one for me. But yeah, Phelan and the Bulldogs is also going to be incredibly close. If XL have returned to form and if Fnatic return to form, I think they could.
That's what I'm excited about for those games, because it's a big question of have they returned to form, in case we'll probably see some really good League of Legends, or will they choke again, in which case we can kind of have a bit of a fun time. Because before the split started, a lot of people were saying, not sure if it's going to be that competitive. XL and Fnatic are probably going to go undefeated apart from each other. That's kind of been completely turned on the head. So
I mean, I'm not going to throw too many stones, but you bring 2 LEC players down to your UKLC team and you still lose in the first round.
Just unlucky. Just unlucky.
It's just unlucky. Go next. Better jungler wins. Play Lee Sin. So, yes, okay, I'm going to throw it back over to Jake as he's going to run through some of the other games we've got coming up today.
Well, actually, I want to run down our little fighting pit here, where we've got ourselves Phelan versus Bulldogs. Both these teams are currently on 1 point, so this is all to play for them, as it's been a rough split so far. There's only a couple weeks left as well, so if you actually want to make playoffs, you've got to start getting yourself up that tower and complete that Tower challenge. And it is really now for them to do that. If they can't get themselves out this week, it's looking dire for them. But I think the rest of the teams as well, they're looking at these teams maybe as a non-threat. Now is your chance to prove yourself as a threat. So is there any players that you guys are looking into for this game that you're excited about?
We're thinking about the next game. Yeah, we're already dancing for the next game, which is going to be the M&M taking on Enclave matchup, which I think is going to be a really close one because Enclave have been growing and growing in strength. Our unsung hero, actually, for the last week was Enclave's governor, who really put in a shift for Enclave over the previous week. So
yeah, I think a lot of people gave him this reputation as being like a tank-only player, which, in fairness, was kind of deserved. But I think he's shown he could do more than that and actually had some good carry performances.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And Jake, I mean, what do you make of this? The unsung hero being governor and the M&M Enclave matchup.
This, right here. It's been a roller coaster ride for M&M especially. They're a team who've had really high highs and really low lows. Enclave, you can see they're a little bit higher up. They've been more consistent with their highs, but M&M, you know, they had a fantastic week where they played upset, they beat XL, they then climbed to the top of the tower to take on Fnatic, lost that game, and then at the beginning in the tower rematch, they beat Fnatic and sat on top of the tower for just one day, a day and a half. So it's been a roller coaster ride for them. They've managed to get themselves points on where they're in a serious spot coming into playoffs, but they need to make sure that they start hitting those decent highs and make themselves a little bit more consistent, because if they can't beat Enclave here, it's going to look a little bit wobbly for them.
Are you really proud of your Photoshop skills, Jake? Because that's...
I'm not even that good at Photoshop. I'm not going to lie, this isn't me. I can't even... This would be a bad paint job for me.
It must have taken like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you just got the logos and... Bloop,
just dragged it on
bloop.
some random
Is that
roller coaster.
Is that an accurate description of how you feel the teams are? Like, do you think that Enclave are heading down and M&M are on the up, you know? Because that's what the image seemed to look like to me.
I don't know. I think M&M arguably are stronger. I think when we were discussing it, I said I thought Enclave had a chance of winning, but you kind of put the matchup as 60-40 M&M.
Yeah, I think M&M, although they had that loss against Davos, which is a bit dicey, I think when they play to their strengths, they are really solid. I think Enclave, I'm still not completely sold on. They do have really good games, but when they don't gel, it does concern me a bit.
So we've actually got a matchup coming up after this, and
we have another.
We have another matchup. We've got 3 today. Can you believe it? We've got Barrage taking on XL. So Jake, Barrage XL, what's this about?
I mean, XL, you know, the team who've been kind of taking it easy, having a cuppa. And 2 weeks in a row, that cuppa hasn't worked out for them. They even brought the singing. He just joined on the sofa. He got himself a coffee. Barrage, they're a team who've been sneaky. They've been able to work their way up the ladder. 2 times in a row now, they've made it out of this round of 8. And as you can see here, they are behind the sofa that XL are sitting on. I don't know how to give any further analysis to that. I mean, what do you make of that?
I feel like you've pulled that still from one of those explained YouTube channels and then just stuck the logos on the heads again.
I feel like you'd have to be pretty slow on the uptake to get snuck up by a battleship as well. You know, you just sit on the sofa and this big, massive warship comes
we're going deep into the analogies here. I think realistically, XL will have steadied that ship a little bit.
You would hope. I mean, I thought that last week. They're like, okay, they have a Kasigan. He's a veteran, very experienced. I expected them to bounce back there. They didn't. If it happens again, that's where I'm really... Because then they're no longer top 2. We can no longer say they're a top 2 team.
They're not top 2. I think it's Diabolus and Fnatic at the top of the table right now. So.
Which is quite a hit to them. They're no longer a top 2 team. Because even after the first time they got knocked out in the first week, we're like, okay, it's an upset. They're the top 2 team. They're not anymore. So starting to raise a lot of questions.
Let's move on to our final matchup of the day, Darkspawn taking on Fnatic. And Jake, what's this about?
It's been rough for Darkspawn. 3 times in a row now they've been pulled up versus Fnatic Rising. And to be fair to them, they've done a pretty good job. They've shown up every time versus this Goliath team that is Fnatic Rising, but maybe after last week, the roles might have swapped. Maybe David and Goliath is actually the other way around. Maybe Darkspawn are the team that are the underdogs, not the underdogs even anymore. It's Fnatic who were knocked out in the first round last week. So, I mean, it's hard to call. I feel a little bit sorry for Darkspawn if they've had to play Fnatic Rising 3 times now. So, I don't know, guys. It's real hard, but I think it's very obvious who our clear favourites coming into this game are.
I'm really loving the level of production quality assets we've got going into this stream right now. I hadn't seen any of these before the stream started, by the way. I kind of had like a small overview of what we were getting, but I was really expecting. Well, I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting just some random Photoshop.
Yeah, that's what we get. That's what we have to work with. But you know.
Thank you, Borja, for these incredibly well photoshopped pictures to really raise the quality of the assets that we have on stream here.
I feel like when people hear us talking, they get a vague idea, but until you see a Photoshop picture that has a roller coaster poster and the team's logos on it, you really can't grasp what we're trying to get across.
No, exactly. Without those pictures, you would never have got the analogies that we were going for. David versus Goliath, what does that mean if you don't have a random Photoshop Darkspawn head on David's head as well, you know?
Absolutely. They couldn't know which one's David and which one's Goliath unless we have their pictures on them. Goliath was the big one with the spear and the shield, and David was the small one with the sling, in case that wasn't completely clear.
Exactly. Right, we are gearing up for our first match of the day, so we're going to send it back over to Jake Hitbrain Matthews, just to give a little bit of an overview of the predictions and what he thinks each matchup's going to be like.
I mean, I'm going to go pretty bold here. I reckon for our first game, I think Phelan have got this in the bag. So let's have a little look at the scoreboard as we come into today's games. Fnatic Rising do sit at the top with 2-time Tower Championships, 11 points under their belt. But Diabolus now with 10 points in the pocket. It's still very, very close here, and they do remain at the top of the tower. So if they can get a good win, they'll overtake Fnatic and be the top team in the UK. XL, 2 knockouts in the round of 8s in a row, sitting at 8 points still because they had a very good start to the season. But M&M are tied with them, and if it's another rough week for XL, we could see M&M actually overtake them here in the standings. So it's all in the air at the moment. These smaller teams like Bulldogs and Phelan, you know, they've really got to start putting some work in if they want to make it to the playoffs. But for these bigger teams, it's a lot of work still needs to get put in because it's still very up on who's actually going to be the best team here in the UK. But before we get going with our first game of the day, we're going to throw it into a... No, we're not, apparently. My earpiece isn't working, so I'm just improvising here, guys. But yeah, pretty excited to get going with this game. So guys, do you want to talk to me a little bit more?
I was giving Jake hand signals. I was like, Jake, he can't hear. I'm his production man now.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, we got there in the end.
We got there in the end. We basically, we would have had a highlights video for you just from last week, but unfortunately...
there were too many plays
to decide from. We couldn't. Orcs actually did the voiceover for it. And
we had a committee. We're still landlocked. It's similar to Brexit. We're still locked, having a vote over which plays to make it through.
Yes, yes, that's the one. However, Orcs did the voiceover for it, and unfortunately, that is too sexy for you guys to hear on stream, and that is just unfortunately not something that we can broadcast. So that's exactly what happened to it, and you'll just have to listen to him do a live broadcast now instead, as we jump into our first matchup of the day, which is Bulldogs versus Phelan, and Captain Scoundrel just trying to steady the ship of this this broadcast as we head into the picks and bans for this first game of the day.
Yeah, I think you put it very aptly. Well, both these teams really want to sort of get a good week because they're really running the risk of not being able to qualify for playoffs if they drop here. But they've both had some pretty interesting moments so far. You know, last week Phelan kind of got stomped.
But they've had flashes of brilliance. They've had flashes in the past.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're looking at terms of two teams that are equal pegged, this is a set of teams that could probably be equal pegged.
Unless you ask either team, then they'll say, no, we're way better.
Yeah, I agree. But I think you look towards the... I think Aragon obviously had those good performances for Phelan, especially he was a great asset in terms of split pushing on that Yorick when they managed to make that sort of tactic work for them. Then you got Toliam on... Is it Toliam or Toliam?
Toliam.
Toliam. Both of those are wrong.
Yeah.
And I think he had a really stand-up performance in sort of conjunction with Calwood for Bulldog. So I think I'm struggling to see exactly where the weaknesses are for these teams when they're looking up against each other. I would love to just probe your opinion on this.
Well, I think the issue on Bulldogs is Toliam can play a good Nunu. And that's it.
Oh, okay.
When that Nunu got banned away, it was a bit of a dicey one. Ego Speed, he's actually had some pretty solid performances. I think Calwood, when he gets a good matchup, is good.
Ego Speed on Jarvan was almost single-handedly carrying Bulldogs in the early start.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of weight, and his Poppy was huge as well. I think on Phelan, they've switched their roster again. They have Snuggly back instead of Blaze. Blaze, it was his first performance in the UKLC. Didn't quite go to plan, but I mean, the thing with Phelan is still they don't feel like a cohesive team yet. I like that they're picking up the Lucian. I like that they're going for something aggressive in the bot lane, because I think both these teams have potential. All the players have shown some life, but you need someone to come out and go, I'm going to carry this game, because, yeah, I mean, it needs to happen.
So Nunu's still up, by the way, for Bulldog, if they want to give that to Liam.
But, I mean, it might be because if I was Bulldogs and I was to Liam, I would have a second pick prep, because his go-to last week was Shaco, and it was just awful.
Yes.
And so I would now have a second pick that I've prepared, and I'm wondering if they have one ready, but Phelan haven't even banned away the Nunu, so we might not see it. We do see the Lee Sin come in from Soft, and this is something that he's actually really confident on. And this is what I like to see. Again, the confidence picks coming out from Phelan. They want to play things that they can carry the game and be aggressive in the early game, rather than just sitting back. And some of the teams have had that reputation of playing the scaling game.
All right, so we've got Thresh being locked in here for, and you can see the summoners are igniting Ignite Smite there for Tillium. So hopefully we're not going to see the Shaco again. That didn't work out too well for Bulldogs in the previous week. But the Thresh being taken away from Snuggly, you're going to limit that aggressive Lucian Thresh lane that you can get from the Phelan bot lane. So Snuggly now going to be forced into something else.
Take the Braum in this rotation.
And the Braum is fine, yeah. The Braum is a good, solid pick.
It's interesting because the Cat, I believe, all his games so far he's played, because he only just came in last week, Blue and Galio. Really good in that Galio, but they banned it away from Blue side. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does on this Thresh, especially being that he's into something like a Lucian. It's not too easy to land hooks if he's playing with that mobility and such. You could also take, your mid laner here if you wanted to get a good counter pick, but
ADM gets his Vel'Koz, which is actually something that we haven't talked too much about.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of a reputation ADM had before, which was he was an Aurelion Sol Vel'Koz 2-trick.
Yeah.
And he has shown he can play a lot of other things, but it looks like Phelan are going full comfort for this game, going back to that Vel'Koz. And it actually works pretty well from what they picked against, because if the Jarvan tries to cataclysm you, he has to go so deep, and you can just ult everyone who tries to engage on you. His counter engage is pretty solid, because unless you flank the Vel'Koz, he just ults the whole team fight and it does a lot of work, especially if you're reliable and that champion can hit all the skill shots.
So this is the Vel'Koz locked in, and I think actually if we run with that sort of comfort style of play that we're seeing from Phelan, we've got 2 weeks left after this of the UKLC. We've got week 6 and week 7 before we go to playoffs. There is not a lot of time to accumulate points to get yourself to a playoff position. It is technically still within grasp.
Yeah, I mean, technically you can still get 15 points for this week, next week, and the week after. But you're hard pressed to do that.
Of course, but if you're gonna go in and guarantee yourself a really strong performance, it looks like just going straight comfort for Phelan is the way that they're going to do this. And they also are running it down to a potential counter pick in the top lane for Eragon. Now, of course, Gragas can flex, but I imagine that's going to be Snuggly. Unless it's support Vel'Koz. I think it's unlikely with ADM on the team.
I think I very much get the vibes. Give me that mid Vel'Koz and the support Gragas. I think Gragas is pretty solid. You can make some aggressive plays and also offers that disengage for the Vel'Koz. And you can be more proactive, I feel, in the Tahm Kench. Sure, you have the Tahm Kench ult to get around the map. But in terms of the plays you can make, I think Gragas offers more. And now goes over to Bulldogs. They have that Orianna from Calwood. And I want to see what Tolium's bringing. I wouldn't be too against them putting the Jarvan in the jungle, but because Ego Speed said he's very confident up against Eragon.
Yeah, I'm waiting
in this 1v1 matchup.
Wait to see exactly what Tillium thinks is his pick. It's going to be the Rek'Sai, very meta pick for the current patch.
Yeah, so it looks like he has picked up a new pick for the jungle. He's not going back to that Shaco.
And doesn't default onto the Nunu, which was
banned away.
So yeah, the Nunu was banned away for him. And so he goes on to the Rek'Sai, which is something that maybe questions can be raised about. You were not impressed on Tillium on anything other than Nunu so far. However, he is a jungler at fairly high elo. He will have other things in his repertoire.
Technically, he's a top laner.
Is he technically top
laner?
Yeah,
he was a top laner for Rust and he got switched.
Oh, goodness.
Which is why he's been relying on the Nunu.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
Okay,
right.
But he's had a week to practice. You'd hope that he's gone right. I'm now playing jungle for this team. I'm going to get good in the Rek'Sai. So we'll have to see how it works out. We've seen some really good Rek'Sais and some not so good Rek'Sais. Yeah. And then we see Eragon rounds things out with a Jace, which is a pretty big confident pick. Jace tends to get banned away a lot, but Jace is the sort of champion where in the right hands he is a monster, which is deserving of the bans, and in the wrong hands he's just useless.
You have to be careful versus Jarvan. That matchup with Jarvan in the top lane can be rough. You obviously can knock him away when the engage happens, but if you've got a Rek'Sai Jarvan combo looking to camp a Jace lane, you've got to be so careful about your vision control and keeping yourself.
In the 1v1, Jace can run away with it, but the problem is League of Legends isn't a 1v1, it's a 5v5, and I know if I was Tolium, I'd be looking towards that top lane as somewhere to punish, but I'll have to see what they end up going for.
All right, so let's run down these compositions and win conditions. We've got Bulldog with the Jace, the Rek'Sai, the Orianna, the Kai'Sa, and the Thresh. What is that? Is that just Kai'Sa late game win condition there? With Orianna as well, I guess it's full team fight.
Kai'Sa Orianna is pretty solid in the late game. The only issue I really have with it is it lacks range against the Vel'Koz.
Sure.
I don't think that's big of an issue. If you find a flank or you find a good engage on the Vel'Koz, you can definitely punish it. In the late game team fights, they need to look to sort of capitalize on that.
It's a group wombo combo team fight, right? You've got the Orianna with the Jarvan or the Orianna with the Rek'Sai.
You want to trap people in that. Yeah. You can also pick out single targets pretty well with Rek'Sai Thresh. That works. I think it's all going to come down to how well the jungle makes pressure on the map. If you can get top lane ahead, great. If you can get bot lane ahead, even better, but it might be a bit trickier. And then I think for the other side, you want to give Aragon a lane of farm. I mean, essentially, you want Aragon and ADM to farm up and be strong, and then your bot lane to have pressure.
Sure. And I think when you look at this and we come down to the opposite side of things with Phelan, you've got a Jace who almost certainly is going to want to split push for the majority. He can siege as well if he goes down sort of the lethality build. Have a look at a quick overview of the roster as we're jumping in towards game. But I mean, very quick overview. Only change here for Phelan is going to be Snuggly coming in, as well as the Cat coming in for recently coming in for the Bulldogs. But yeah, I think as we jump onto the Rift here for our first game of the UKLC Week 5, I do think a lot of this does lie in that top lane matchup. If Aragon can run away with things, I don't think there's many ways you can deal with the split push Jace. I don't think there's many easy ways to deal with the split push Jace, because you've got Orianna who doesn't want to be in a side lane, and you've got ego speed on Java, and if he gets behind, he's going to be really far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well that if you look at Phelan's sort of composition, a lot of their champions are going to be really strong in the mid game. I think later on you might struggle a bit.
Yeah.
Like the Lucian just isn't going to put out as much damage as the Kai'Sa. I feel like Vel'Koz, he's strong in those late game team fights by all means, but I'm not sure how easy it is to get those big ults on when it gets later on. So I think Phelan definitely want to get some pressure in the early game and then sort of take away with the game in those mid game team fights where a Lee Sin kick into a Gragas barrel leads very little follow up to just land a kill. I think on the side of Bulldogs, they have the Orianna and the Kai'Sa. Those are going to be monsters later on. They just need to sort of have pressure from that top jungle that, as you talked about, is very strong.
I think if Phelan can get ahead in the mid game, though, I don't see many tools for Bulldogs to actually keep this composition under wraps until that late game, because you have an Orianna Kai'Sa who scale really well, and they're there for team fighting. And you go into a teamfight situation with those two, saying, okay, like wombo combo with the Orianna, find a good engage with the Jarvan, stick the ball on the Rek'Sai of the Jarvan, find a great ultimate, blah, 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 blah. It plays itself out, right?
Yeah.
But I think when you look at Phelan, if they can get an advantage in any of their lanes and start to run away with it, especially that bot lane, which I think is going to be a really crucial one with the engage of the Gragas as well, you're looking at a composition that is going to be very difficult to contain for Bulldogs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the burden is going to be on Phelan to find that pressure though, because as you said, it's going to be difficult to contain. So if you start taking the Baron on blue side, I mean, when you're on red side as Phelan, it's very easy just to walk in, land a big shockwave, and you can turn the whole game around. And I feel like if Bulldogs get ahead significantly, it's really going to be difficult for Phelan to get back. I see an avenue where Phelan could lose the game from being ahead if they sort of get picked out in bad situations, but I think they have an easier time of getting to that point where they're in a lead.
Sure, I guess the way that you're sort of phrasing this is that it's up to Phelan to make the move.
Yeah,
it's up to Phelan to take the advantage, because Bulldogs are going to be very happy to sit this out on farm lanes. Very happy to say, okay, we'll take advantages when they're presented to us, but we don't need to force anything. We don't need to go too hard. As long as we match pressure from Phelan, as long as we make sure we look after our global objectives, this game will play itself for us if we get towards that late game.
Yeah, and as long as things don't go too disastrously in any of the lanes, I think you always have a win condition as Bulldogs. Whereas if their Jace falls really far behind, if their Lucian falls really far behind, that's where things get a bit concerning. And the thing is that Kai'Sa is going to be a monster in the late game, and she has the protection from that Orianna. There's a utility of the Thresh which comes in too, and then even the Jarvan, that attack speed from his fly, it's nothing massive, but it's more things that are going to offer for Ghoul to really 1v9 this late game, rather than a Lucian who, as we've seen, does fall off a bit towards those late stages.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think a lot of this is going to come down to Soph on this Lee Sin as well. A lot of this is going to be about what pressure he can put down, which lanes he's going to be able to get to and actually start doing some work in. Looks like that bot lane is about to bounce slightly towards the middle side of the map, and you can see Soph hanging around in that tri-brush, which is not currently warded, but it's not in a great position for a gank right now.
Yeah, they're doing their wait for it to push out a bit, but looks like Cat and Gold are going to play it quite safe. For now, you'll just steal away those Krogs quite happily. Do you see Tolium has recall on this Rek'Sai? Does mean he has an item advantage, but he's a little bit behind in levels, and I guess he's coming over to his Krogs to sort of spy them out. And the question is going to be, will he meet Soph and know exactly where he is, or will he just catch him on the back end and go, okay, my camp got stolen, he was here, but I don't know when.
Looks like he's going to catch it just as they're going. He's seen one of them diving away. He knows exactly where Lee Sin is.
I mean, it's not a bad situation necessarily for Bulldogs. You do fall a bit behind in XP in terms of this Rek'Sai, but at least you know where the Lee Sin is. And that means you know that he's not applying pressure in the mid or top lane. He was definitely bot. I mean, well, your lanes can play fairly safe with that information.
But then this is great for Aragon, right? Because as soon as he knows that Rek'Sai is on the bottom side of the map, that's where you're going to look to start to take advantages versus this Jarvan. I mean, Aragon has been trading pretty well versus Ego Speed for the majority of this. He's put pressure on Ego Speed, pushed the lane in, although the CS is similar. He's been coming away on top in some of these trades.
Yeah, one big accelerated Shock Blast can really just turn the trades around as well. Both of them running out of Corrupting Potion stacks, but they're now going for a recall from Aragon. He's going to TP back in. So it does look like he will actually have his recall cancelled. And we do see an engage coming bot.
Oh, a Chew forced to flash straight away. Cat drags in with the lantern, and now Snuggly forced to back off. Cat now waiting to wind up this next flay to put pressure onto Snuggly. There's going to be a hook coming out fairly soon, but the flash is forced once more.
Coming though.
Here comes Soft, but I think the summoners are all up for Gould and the Cat, and that is going to be a flash forced out. So at the end of the day, it is an ignite and flash for a double flash and heal.
Yes, a big advantage coming for Bulldogs there. And I mean, we talked about how the Lucian should be, oh, ADM, that's not where you want to be.
Oh, he actually flashes in an awkward position as 2, and Tolium is just trying to catch up. Does flash on Burrow. There's the shockwave onto ADM. Nothing he can do as the barrier comes out. Forces him back. Tolium hasn't got the flash, but he has got the Burrow at some point soon.
Oh,
he misses the Prey Seeker. He gets the knockup, and First Blood goes over to Tolium.
I swear that the Yakli Sax was playing. If ADM got away there, that would have been really questionable. But Tolium does manage to secure it. They get that First Blood, and ADM just overstepping there. And a similar thing happened bot lane. You know, we saw this Lucian Gragas lane. I feel like they should have had the pressure, but they really lost out in that trade in terms of summoners, and even had to call Soft down, and then all they got in return was a flash from the Cat. So not a great start in the early levels, especially when last week, although it was Blaze instead of Snuggly, Chew and Blaze really fell behind bot lane. Like, they were dying 2v2 pretty consistently against Barage's bot lane, so it's not a good start to see similar things happen here. But it might just be the early levels. We'll see how things pan out.
Yeah, again, we're only sort of talking a difference of 500 gold or so at this point in time. It's not what Phelan would have wanted, the way their game to start. But right now, there's something that the Rek'Sai meta has kind of brought back in for people. They've been so used to Rek'Sai being out of the meta. They've been so used to just traditional jungle pathing and sort of expecting normal jungle gank patterns that when Rek'Sai's back in the meta, you have to think more. You have to really be aware of where that jungler is, what kind of paths they could take over wolves. And ADM just maybe felt a little too comfortable pushing up in that lane, and that allowed Tolium to exploit that.
And that's the thing, we talked about the comfort pick, but I think it was a bit too comfortable there. And the thing with the Vel'Koz, if once you get on top of it, there's not much you can do. And now, if I was Bulldog, I'd be looking again towards that mid lane. You're going to have the ult from Tolium soon. The shockwave's coming up again. No flash on that Vel'Koz. It's a very easy lane to gank. And if you can keep putting this Vel'Koz behind, that sort of definitely gives that win condition we were talking about where you get the strong lanes.
Oh, Cat. Oh, they missed both the Qs and the body slam, but here comes ADM trying to force out an all-out 3-on-3, but that was a little awkward from Soft and Snuggly on the Cat, who had no flash to work with.
Here's the question. Was it a mistake from Snuggly and Soft, or is the Cat just insanely good at dodging?
I think Snuggly and Soft went a little bit too early there, unfortunately. I think it was just they got a little bit over antsy. I don't even think the Cat knew they were in that bush.
Yeah, I think just a bit too soon.
So just a little bit too soon, just misjudged the body slam.
Yeah, the concern might have been that he was going to ward it, and then they were like, we need to get it just before he wards it, but even so, I think you're right. They jumped the gun a bit too soon and end up getting nothing from it.
I want to talk about this Aragon and Ego Speed matchup, because Ego Speed is now up 10 CS, although there is a wave pushing in to the Jace. He's been managing that wave control in the top lane really nicely. He's basically been pulling it over to his side of the map, freezing it where he can, and has been making Aragon feel uncomfortable in the areas that he is in terms of pushing up in that lane, because you don't want to get ganked by a Jarvan Rek'Sai combo. Even with flash, that's going to be difficult to escape.
Yeah, absolutely. And you actually see Phelan as a result of that. So Aragon played very safe, played respectful of the fact that the Rek'Sai could be there, or was there. He saw him clearing on the ward. It means they get a Mountain Dragon essentially for free, and I wouldn't complain in that situation. But you can see, if you look at the map, so much more control on this bot side for Phelan compared to the top side, which seems to be completely Tolium's. And it's weird that it's almost like we have the split jungling now instead of at the early levels, where you can see Tolium just wandering about on the red side of Phelan's jungle, taking all the camps he wants, and it makes things a bit dicey for Aragon, because realistically a dive could happen. And the thing is, if Phelan want to sort of counteract that, they have to do something return, but it looks like Soft couldn't find anything, and he's just recalled.
Yeah, it does look like Tillian is on the top side again, just seeking out that dive situation onto Aragon as the engage comes in from Ego Speed, just slams down with the Martial Cadence just onto Aragon to get that percentage damage. And honestly, Aragon has been struggling in this matchup. It's a matchup that the Jace can run away with, but it is a difficult one for, you know, versus a Jarvan Rek'Sai combo that you constantly have to respect. Yeah,
I think that's the big thing, is that he's so scared of getting ganked, understandably. Oh, and the cat might be in trouble here, actually. But we're watching this instead.
Oh, we're watching Wraith take, and Snuggly actually gets the kill onto the cat. Awkward.
Thank you, Observer. Shout out to you, Harry. Good job. Anyway, so what happened there was Cat basically stepped up too far. I think he didn't quite have his flash build. We all see the replay, thankfully. Yeah. So Cat tries to stop the recall, the slow hits, and then his flash was coming up but not available yet. Really good ult from Snuggly, so just solid punish. And I think the Cat just being a bit overconfident. I've done that before.
Yeah, of course. We all have.
You've all done that moment. You're like, I'll stop his recall. You feel confident. Last time you had a trade, you would in terms of summoners traded, but a bit too far. And Cat ends up going down and showing maybe a bit of the experience difference between someone like Snuggly and himself, who was brought in, the Cat brought in very recently onto this Bulldogs roster. So bit of an oopsie daisy. We'll see both teams posturing for this Herald right now. Yeah, we see the rotation already coming out of both the Chew and Snuggly to the top side of the map. They feel that they are stronger in that bot lane jungle duo or bot lane jungle matchup, that they're happy to then rotate everybody up to the top and just get another global objective. Yeah, crucially as well, with the Dragon off the table, no real reason to stay down there, so they should pick this up. It was really good poke from Aragon actually there. He chunked Tolium out, and I think as soon as that happened, Bulldogs went, right, okay, let's just stop. There's no real way we contest this, and now this is what Phelan need to do. We said they need to get things going in the early mid-game. They now have that Rift Herald. They just need to keep this momentum going. If you look, just a minute ago, we were talking about how much vision there was on the top side for Bulldogs. Look at the map again. It's just completely turned off the head, and you can actually see 5 pink wards in that top side. You can count them. You know, there's the 2 up and very near the top lane. There's 2 on the opposite side of the Rift Herald, and then there's 1 that is kind of being covered by the Vel'Koz icon. But that happened like in 2 seconds. They literally moved top and they went, right, we're putting 5 control wards down instantly, which is, considering I talked about this team having a lack of cohesion, this is a big shift. Yeah, it was a really nice piece of macro play. This was classic macro from Phelan. You take that objective on the bottom side of the map, you get an advantage and shove in on the bot, then rotate top, and then they sort of grouped up together for the Rift Herald. And actually, I think they're at a situation where they feel stronger in a straight-up team fight in this middle portion of the game, early mid portion of the game. The Bulldogs just didn't want to fight it. And actually, do you know what? I actually respect that from Bulldogs, because we've talked about what Bulldogs' win condition lies as. It is getting to the late game. It is just letting things chill. And they've said, okay, let's not take any risky, sort of risky fights. We don't need to take a team fight that we, potentially don't have the answer to. So it may come back to bite them as the Rift Herald gets unleashed in the bot lane and Phelan get yet another advantage. But I guess they are playing towards their win conditions, which is a little bit later on. Yeah, but I got to give credit to Phelan. It was a really smart move. They diverted all that attention top. So what is the obvious reaction from Tolium? It's to go top in response, because you see all the vision, you see all the pressure, you see Lee Sin on the top side, you're expecting the Rift Herald to come there. And so instantly, they swap over to the other side, and they take this tower down with all 5 platings. That's a ton of gold for that Jace. And we're talking about how he's fallen behind a bit against the Jarvan. That gold he just got there is going to put him ahead in terms of the money he has. So it was actually really smart move from Soft there. He's going to pick up Ghostblade as well, which is a nice item spike for him to be able to find a couple more situations for the 1v1s. Only 30 seconds of turret plating left, so I don't think we'll see too many more fall. And we are only around a 1,000 gold lead for Phelan. So all of these global objectives, it hasn't translated into a huge gold lead as of yet, but it is a situation where we are hitting item spikes. But it's just, I mean, the goal difference is massive, but the way Phelan are playing is just really smart here. Because you instantly see that they make that play top lane, they get the Rift Herald, they then swap their pressure down bot and get the tower, and now they're going back towards bot side for that Dragon, and actually Aragon stopped the back of Gould. He doesn't have TP, he's not going to be able to make it in time, so this second Mountain Dragon is just essentially gone for free. The only chance they have to get it is if Tolium goes for a steal, which, looking for where he is in the map, I'm not even sure if he's going to try. So Phelan have just out-rotated and outplayed Bulldogs into getting 3 objectives for free, which is those 2 mountains and the tower. So really good moves from them. And again, this is a team I said they lacked cohesion. They didn't look like a team with a formulated plan when they were playing. It just looked like 5 people playing League of Legends together. But now they are showing they know how to play the map and as a team.
And if we link this back to what it means for the UKLC and the standings, remember, these guys are at the bottom right now. They have very few games to make up a situation where they can get to playoffs. The winner of this game essentially puts the other team in the dirt for playoffs. If you lose this game, I think it's almost mathematically impossible for you to, potentially mathematically impossible.
It's not completely, but it's rough.
Yeah, I mean,
if you win the next 2 weeks back to back, sure, you can probably make playoffs, but it's rough.
Yeah. If you lose this game and you are then put into a situation where you're again round of 1 out on the week with just 2 weeks left to go, you rely on some crazy results to actually put you in a situation where you are going to be contending for playoffs. As Aragon and Ego Speed, I mean, Ego Speed's going, that's a nice knockout by Aragon now. He's trying to dodge out away from Ego Speed. Ego Speed does have flash. Oh, another flash comes through. Oh, the standard is here, but Soft comes to save the day. Ego Speed can't get away with that standard, and that is a nice trade 1-for-1, and look what's happening in the mid lane.
Yes, it was a really solid play from Ego Speed. Just got close to Aragon and getting close there. And that's the thing, is that individually, Ego Speed has played this game better than Aragon. He's had the CS advantage, he found that solo kill. The issue is Soft has just been such a menace on the map, instantly being there to turn around that 1v1 and get the kill in return. And then he got the tower bot lane, which Ego Speed was going to defend because he used the Rift Tiles, and it just feels like Bulldogs have had some good individual play, but on the map, Phelan are playing this so much better so far.
What I also like about the way that Phelan played the first, let's say, 10 to 12 minutes of this game, is that despite that gank onto ADM very early, which made him a sitting duck, really, for Rek'Sai return ganks, the pressure from bot to take Dragon, to then switch top, to take Rift Herald, to switch bot, to take Dragon and tower again, means that
the focus was taken away from
Talium has never had the opportunity to go back to mid lane. He's always had to mirror Soft, and he's always had to mirror the pressure on either side of the map, and that has taken that pressure away from Vel'Koz in the mid lane. And although he's behind on CS, he's not died again, and now that chance to exploit him has passed, and he's got Flash, he's got Barrier, and he's safer once more.
Absolutely, and I think that's the thing, is that so far this game, it's felt like Tolium has very much played in response to Soft, but now he's making an aggressive play.
Nothing that Aragon can do here. Talium actually picks up the kill. There is a response coming out from Phelan as they head up with Snuggly. Not sure if there's anything to do about it. Can Talium be baited in here? Talium is waiting around. Snuggly goes in. He doesn't have flash. That's the ignite coming through. And that is going to be another kill for Soft as the shutdown is there. Teleport can't be cancelled. Ego Speed coming in. Soft now backing away. ADM does have some abilities up and ready to go. There's the ultimate, but just a little bit out of range. Soft still on the back line. No idea what he's doing. Snuggly flashes over the box, and Achu joining right at the end of the fight makes them back off, but that could have been so much worse for either side had a few things gone in different ways.
Yeah, I think a bit overzealous from Soft there, deciding to go for Ego Speed when he TP'd in. I think they could have just killed Tolium, backed off for the TP, and then taken that advantage. Went a bit overzealous, but at the end of the day, didn't go too badly for either side. But it's good to see that Tolium looking for these aggressive plays now, because, like I said, for the whole early game, he was basically just playing to Soft's tune.
And I think what we need to note is that despite these advantages having picked up by Phelan, we are still only looking at a 1,000 gold lead, which coming up to 20 minutes into the game, you would consider that a fairly even game across the board.
It's not massive. You have to crucially look at where the sort of goal differences are, and the 80 carries the one, particularly when Lucian's on this big Blade Rune King one-item spike. That's a bit dicey for me, but like you said, I don't think it's massive. I don't think it's a huge difference. The 2 mountains maybe is a bit concerning, because if Phelan start to take over the game, they can very easily rush down a Baron. But for now, I don't think Bulldogs are by any means out this game.
Soft coming in here onto Talium, who's gone. Is Talium going for a Guardian Angel second item here on the...
Yeah, it's a pretty solid rush. I've seen a lot of junglers go this. A lot of junglers who are looking to engage. They get the Guardian Angel very early, and it just means they essentially can go as aggressive as they want, and there's no burden that they're going to die and be off the map for that smite. So I think it's been quite common on stuff like the Jarvan and the Rek'Sai, even the Lee Sin, to go that Guardian Angel second.
Looks like Golden Cat is staying on the top side of the map here with the Dragon spawning in around 20 seconds. Are they going to be able to back off in time to contest this Dragon? Because there are a lot of Phelan faces on the bottom side of the map here.
I mean, if they've decided to make this trade, I don't think it's a bad one. It is just an Ocean Dragon.
Just an Ocean Drake.
The concern is later on, it might be a bit dicey. We did see a brief tweet, but Aragon now in trouble here.
Oh, Aragon has been a punching bag for Ego Speed and Liam, and they get yet another kill onto him. That has been the focus, but Soft is not finished. A great double slow. He's looking for the kick. Can he get it as Liam forces the stopwatch out? He will go down eventually to ADM, and there's the ultimate onto Soft. Can Soft escape? He will have that safeguard, and Ego Speed does not feel confident to head back into that fight.
Yeah, so understandably, the numbers advantage came to Phelan there. It was a good pick-off from Bulldogs, but they aren't able to get away with it. Both teams will back off, but I think having the smite on the cards does mean Phelan should be in a favorable position to get this dragon, especially since they have that double mount, and it should go down so fast. Yeah,
they should get this pretty easily, although the pings are coming through because Soft is low. Does that feel like they want to contest it? I think it'd have to be a crazy contest from Bulldogs. There was a tweet. Hopefully we can get that tweet back up and have a look.
Maybe. Did you manage to catch any of it?
I managed to catch Bulldogs looking for the W.
Yeah, well, I'd hope that the team's looking to win.
Oh, it's a big hook onto the loose. He's dead. No, he's not. He's not dead. Safeguard and heal keeps him alive. Oh, how did he not go down?
I mean, it was close, but that was very greedy from Achu. Going for that last auto on the turret, and it was a good hook from Cat. Credit to him. That is not the sort of mechanical plays you want to see coming out from Illusion by any means. Losing both summoners for that as well. So did manage to stay alive, but not good for Phelan.
No, not a great situation for Phelan. You would have preferred not to burn your AD carry Flash, who is currently sitting, you know, towards his second item spike. Although speaking of item spikes, that Infinity Edge is completed. The Gwinsu's being built up to for Gould.
So here's something interesting, is the build from ADM. He's rushed that Spellbinders before even finishing the Ludens. So, I mean, ADM obviously has a lot more understanding of Vel'Koz to me. And what this says to me is that, well, what's the most impactful part of a Vel'Koz's team fighting?
His ultimate.
His ultimate. So what it says to me is that he wants to pop that and then just fire up a huge damage ultimate that just absolutely shreds the other team. Alternatively, the movement speed it gives as well also means it gives you a bit of mobility if you want to get away from things, but I don't know. That's my ideas on it. To me, I would love just to get that 100 stacks up, pop it, and then just ult the other team and melt them. That would be my dream, but there is also that movement speed aspect of it that might be.
Yeah, repositioning versus the Jav and Rek'Sai, especially when you've got to worry about things like the Orianna ultimate, as well as the fact that Kai'Sa can position onto the backline and blow you up too. Those are things that you want to worry about as a Vel'Koz, and I think all of the things that Spellbinding gives him can definitely help him out. Feeling pretty bad for Aragon this game, though. He has been that punching bag, and that means that any kind of Jace split push situation is being firmly locked down by Ego Speed right now, and Jace, you know, just not having a good time in the side lane. They really are relying on that Lucian from Achu to just be the driving force behind their mid-game presence at this point in time.
Which I think is fine. I mean, it'd be nice if the Jace got ahead, but he's not useless, and Cat actually stepping up pretty far here.
Oh, there's the box. That's a nice play as Snuggly goes in. Liam waiting to jump in. There's the ultimate. Nice flash from Snuggly right at the end, though, as Liam again flashes in, but can't get the finishing blow. A teleport through from Aragon. He can't stop it, but he can be there for this tower siege, and it is just a few basic attacks from going down.
Yeah, so especially with the double mountains, that's going to go down very quick. Have to see if the trade's going to be worth it, because Ego Speed is hitting that tower on the bot side, so it will be a 1-for-1, but remember, TP advantage goes over the Bulldogs there.
Yeah, they do lose their TP for what was really just a 1-for-1 tower trade. So ideally, the Bulldogs come away feeling pretty good about that situation right there.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 flashes down from Bulldogs, and I think one big thing to talk about is how vulnerable the Thresh is without a flash. He is arguably the least mobile member of Bulldogs. I mean, probably closely tied with the Orianna, but even Orianna, it's quite hard to jump on her because she gets that big shockwave, very easy to turn around. I feel like Snuggly, if he throws out a barrel at the right time, it's very easy to kill the Cat, so has to be very careful now he's without that summoner.
As long as you get the box down, though, you're looking at a situation where you've already done a decent job in a team fight a lot of the time. I would argue he's also the least impactful member of the Bulldogs roster when it comes to a team fight.
Sure, but if you just pop him out before a team fight, making it a 5v4,
sure,
it's definitely favorable. Whereas I think it's a lot riskier to go for example, a Gragas, who has that mobility, but also can sort of ult you back into his own team. I think, to me, that's one of the things with Thresh. Thresh can make such a big impact with his hooks, but if he's caught out, he just dies so quickly. He's not that tanky compared to other tanky supports. He has no mobility. And now he has to be quite careful, and it's very tricky, especially when he's going to be the big burden for the wards, since he's the one who has that Sight Stone.
Liam buries over. They are looking for another Drake contest. It's going to be another Ocean as that comes up. 2 Oceans and 2 Mountains. Actually not a bad situation, especially if you are going for more of a siege type scenario.
It's good for objective control, absolutely, because you can start up a Baron and you heal up pretty quick after it. The one downside to it, it's actually another mountain, so the overlay's a bit wrong. But
yeah, the overlay's a little bit wrong. But
regardless, it makes your objective control really solid, but it means that you have no extra combat stats. You know, those mountains don't help you in a team fight. The Ocean doesn't either, unless you get like a brief reprieve. So although they have this big advantage, you are waiting for the Elder Dragon before it really helps you in team fights.
I do think, though, with the mountains and the ocean specifically, and when you're looking at a situation where you want to push onto a tower, let's say, you have the Jace, the Vel'Koz, they are great at sieging. Lucian, a pretty good sieger as well. And then you get a small opportunity, you're going to get much more damage done to the towers than you would do usually.
I mean, yeah, but the issue for me for sieging is just the lack of range. Like, Lucian, we saw there before when he tried to walk up and onto the tower. Yeah. Especially when Orianna gets stronger and stronger. Now level 15, the highest level in the game, you don't want to walk in that shockwave. And it looks like this might be the chance where Bulldog look to contest this one. TP coming in.
They are split up right now. Ego Speed does not want to commit, and they all back off towards that Mountain Drake. They're going to start things up. Here comes the Lucian ultimate. He is looking for an opportunity just to get a big EQ combo as Cat gets a hook onto the Lucian. Lucian gets a great flash out, but they are diving onto him in the backline. No one gets the kill. No idea what that Vel'Koz ultimate is about. It's absolutely useless as a Chu just still alive on the backline. The only target they wanted to take down, and they didn't. And despite some minor grievances, it's still Phelan that come away with the win.
I mean, I talked about how Calwood is the highest level in the game. I'm looking for that shockwave to make a big impact. The Cat lands a beautiful hook on Lucian. And then the Calwood miles away, just doing nothing. I'm like, what? Why?
There's 3 Mountain Drakes straight for the Baron.
This might just be gone.
This is a big play because there's a massive amount of distance to cover. It's going down pretty quickly. Calwood coming through, doesn't have his ultimate. Liam is there on the sidelines though, and that is a really nice setup by ADM. They are still going for the Baron though. Ego Speed's there as well. Aragon taking a huge amount of damage. Oh, that was a huge opportunity, but everything goes amiss as ADM now being forced back by Ego Speed in the backline though. A dive in by Liam, but he's got that GA. He's bought some time as a Chu, getting chased down. Soft diving back with that safeguard, and oh my word, this is so close. A Chu has been tagged, and that's not going to be a move in from Gould. He doesn't have the ultimate available. But that could have been very scary.
Yeah, bit of a clown fiesta now, but we are loving it. So, Phelan go for the quick Baron attempt, but they managed to get away with only losing snugly, so not too bad, but they give the pressure over the Bulldogs. What a back and forth between these two teams.
That was a crazy sequence of events right there. It looks like a Chu build. I think a Chu building up towards the Phantom Dancer here. I would guess the Phantom Dancer, or maybe the Rapid Fire Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be the Runans, I can say that. Probably won't be Static Shiv. Both are arguably a choice. Personally, if I was him, I'd go for the QSS because he's been a hook magnet so far this game.
He has.
I mean, credit to the Cat. He predicts where the dashes, the relentless pursuit is going to come out and finds him, but
I think in that last fight, if we were to look at that last Dragon fight again, I would imagine that ADM was zoning out Calwood from getting a good shockwave. I think it's the only thing that makes sense to me because that was a perfect shockwave opportunity. Everybody was locked in that Jarvan ultimate, so there must be a reason that Calwood couldn't get that shockwave down. I mean, Calwood was just
miles away, and he was getting zoned out a bit by Aragon and ADM. But the problem is the range of Aragon and ADM is so much higher, so they can still assist their team from that distance, whereas Calwood, the highest level and the strongest member of Bulldogs, you can see from the gold, has the most as well. Did nothing that entire Dragon team fight.
No, I agree. I think both mid laners have had some kind of lackluster team fight situations, especially when it comes to those big impactful ultimates. And these are 2 champions that do rely on their ultimates to have the most team fight impact. I mean, ADM's was kind of all over the place in that last fight.
But at least he used it. I mean, yes, Calwood did use it in the end, but on one person and he got flashed. You know, so I wasn't too impressed. And he's the one I'm looking to because he's had some really good performances so far. And his shockwave, he's close to the Rabadons, doesn't have it yet, but that is going to hurt.
Yeah, Rabadons is going to be a huge pickup for Calwood if that's where he ends up going. It is just a contest for Baron vision right now, and loads of control wards coming down around the Baron pit as Bulldogs look to establish some more control. I mean, they're letting Aragon just split push right now. Again, TP advantages being switched back and forth between these 2 teams. And it is Aragon that's the one that's kind of taking advantage of that at this point in time.
Yes, the Bulldog means they can get a bit of pressure and clear the vision out. Looks like they're trying to start up. I don't think you want to take this 50-50, but they're now actually looking for a play on a Snuggly. He has his flash.
There's the hook onto Snuggly, a nice ultimate, and they're trying to go into a Chu. There's an Ego Speed with the ultimate there as well. He's trying to get down the Chu in the backline, but a Chu able to tank it out. That is a massive, massive ADM ultimate, perfectly flanked, as the Orianna ultimate again is just a little bit lackluster onto Soft. A Chu now trying to dive in, but is really respecting that Orianna dissonance, and in the meantime, Aragon has taken an inhibitor, well, almost taken an inhibitor on the bottom side of the map. It should go down. He is respecting the Rek'Sai quite a lot here.
I think you can just take this.
I think you just take it. I think just take it. Wait for your 3 shots to come up and go for it. As another fight breaks out on the top side of the map, Flashes forced to be burnt. And finally, the inhibitor goes down. That is a massive win for Phelan. They've generated so much pressure now on that bottom side of the map.
I understood the reasoning for Bulldogs to go aggressive there. They wanted to find the play. They were scared of Phelan starting the Baron when Ego Speed had no TP, but they ended up just giving up so much in the bot lane, 2 towers and inhibitor down, and now I don't realistically see a way for them to defend against a triple Mountain Drake Baron take from Phelan. They just have to wait for the supers to push in, and Ego Speed still doesn't have teleport. And that ultimate came in from ADM. He used a Spellbinder that did so much damage.
Oh. It was nice. It was finally that kind of the ADM level Vel'Koz play that we were expecting from him. And
still quite haven't seen the big shockwave from Calwood. Did manage to kill off Soft, but that's the thing. If Phelan go for a Baron here and Calwood just gets a massive shockwave, that could turn things around. But it looks like both teams looking for this Infernal Dragon first, and that is one I wouldn't want to give up. Yeah, 5 Drakes actually being taken before the Elder spawns, which is a very high Dragon game. We don't usually see this many getting taken in the UKLC. Now Phelan positioning, there is a flank opportunity for Ego Speed as a Chu is just trying to get a bit of damage across with his culling. That is an awkward bit of positioning there, Chu. I would have been very careful about putting yourself isolated like that. Soft on the sidelines, he's going to spy out Ego Speed now. This is actually a really tense situation. I genuinely think this team fight could go either way because the goal differences are still so close. There is the shockwave, maybe what we wanted. A hook goes through, an ultimate from ADM, but it's not really hitting that many people, zoning a few people out of the back line. But right now, a Chu and ADM are doing so much damage. There goes Tillian with the ultimate. A Chu now on fire, and here comes ADM following up with all of his abilities, but he can't quite land those crucial ones at the end. But at the end of it, Soft is the one who gets the Infernal Dragon, so they come out ahead. A 2-for-2 trade. Both members across the map, so the teams walk away, but I'd definitely be in Phelan's favor for picking up that dragon.
That's 5 Drakes. That activates a huge Elder Dragon win condition as well for Phelan. No matter how late this goes versus that Kai'Sa Orianna, which arguably scales better, you still have the Elder Dragon that you now have to worry about. If that gets picked up by Phelan, you can kiss goodbye to your game. And it looks like Phelan are even going to go for a cheeky attempt at the Baron here.
Yeah, they will start this one up.
That's going down so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's triple Mountain and Infernal. I'm not sure if Tolium even makes it in time.
I don't think he does. I think this is just a free Baron now. The teleport coming in way too late from Ego Speed. And the Baron has already been taken. The triple Mountain Drake activated, but Bulldogs, they are chasing Phelan like a bone. They are not done with this game right now. They want to try and punish.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going very deep, but Phelan are completely respecting that, backing away. And now in the safety of the tower, they have that Baron. And they're in a very comfortable position. Tolium, I'm not sure about his positioning.
No, he's a little bit out of the... oh, that was a really, really nice... I like that from Snuggly.
You know what? I got to respect the attempt.
I got to respect the attempt. But that teleport may prove more crucial than we thought. Look at the pressure now in the bottom side of the map. That inhibitor that is respawning moderately soon, but there is no teleport for Ego Speed.
Yeah.
So if Aragon just pushes that lane in, Ego Speed will never be able to react.
The only saving grace is that Aragon also used his TP in the end to scare the Baron. If he hadn't, I'd be very, very concerned. Oh, Snuggly makes it back.
He makes it back. Oh, there you go, Snuggly. You get the return.
Gets a redemption, but now you can see Triple Mountain Infernal. They're pushing down those towers fast, and you have to look to Ego Speed. You have to look for him to make a miracle engage. A shockwave comes off it. That is where I see Bulldogs getting back in this game, but for now, things are definitely looking Phelan favored.
We've not seen that big Wombo combo win condition from this Orianna that's arguably at a great point in the game with the Rabadons finished as well. She just hasn't had the impact that you felt that she should have done as Tillian again. He's the one forcing. He's the one forcing, and he's just not getting rewards for it. I really think it should be Ego Speed. He's got the more reliable engage.
Yeah, they put the ball on Ego Speed. He went forwards, but it just didn't happen. And the thing is, if you look, Aragon and ADM, neither of them have flashes. You get them in that Cataclysm, and they are getting Orianna ulted. There is no way they avoid it. And I just feel like you have to pull the trigger before that bot lane shoves in, which you can see happening now. And Ego Speed, he's looking for it now.
He looks for it. There's the big ultimate. Oh, we're looking for the wombo combo. A great Zhonya's there. And ADM managed to dodge it out. Aragon gets some damage down in the backline, and it's still a Chu that is untouched. The master behind the Phelan strategy in these team fights, and he is still completely untouched by anybody from Bulldogs.
Yeah, Bulldog, even in terms of players, but the HP advantage on the Chu going to come in huge. Super minions pushing in bot means Gould has to go handle it, so now Phelan going to push in mid.
A Chu just really getting aggressive now. He's at that 3-item spike with the rapid fire cannon as well. This is the point in the game where Lucian can really come online. And although we've got a 3-item Kai'Sa, she just can't trade versus him at this point. He is such a menace, and they're going for that second inhibitor. Coward doesn't have that ultimate up available, so that team fight and that skirmishing potential from Bulldogs is a little bit lower than it potentially could be at this point in the game. But Phelan are going to respect. They're going to respect the Orianna damage, and they're going to back away.
Yeah, they see the respawns coming through, so we'll back off. And I got proven wrong there. You know, I said if Ego Speed gets both of them in a Cataclysm, there's no way that Shockwave can miss. I was wrong. I mean, yes, it was a good stopwatch from ADM, but the Shockwave actually just flat out missed Aragon.
It missed Aragon, yeah.
Which, I guess if that happens, you can still miss the Shockwave. So, but I mean, I think that's just sort of the pressure. You have to get all these things to go in tandem for Bulldog to get back in this game. We said how they went too far behind in the mid game, but they're now almost, well, yeah, 5k goal behind. And with 30 seconds on that Elder and the 5-dragon buff, things are getting really scary right now. Bulldog's going to try and establish some vision, potentially look for a pick here. But the thing is, if you 50-50 that dragon, if you get it, cool. You stop the inevitable loss of the game. But if you lose it, you've just lost the game there and then.
I agree.
Not inevitable loss, but the inevitable sort of difficulties of the Elder Dragon.
What I will say, though, is that we're in a situation where Bulldogs want to fight in these circumstances. Oh, that's a big Shockwave, already doing a huge amount of damage across Bulldogs. Shock Blast. But we are in a situation where we're around a Dragon Pit, which is a great situation for an Orianna. Ego Speed, not the place you want to be, my dude. That is a great knockup by ADM.
Oh, they get Shockwave!
They get a Chu in the backline, but Aragon now pushing onto Coward. He's got so much damage. He goes down. Now going onto Gould on the backline too. Gould flashes away, gets the double kill, but the rest of his team is being eaten alive by the Void Monster that is ADM. And it is a 3-for-2 trade at the end of the day. And actually, with Soft still up, 3 Mountain Drakes on the board, they're going to go straight for Elder.
Yeah, no way to contest it, and although things look good when they manage to find the kill onto a Chu, it's not enough. ADM untouched, and they're able to clean up and get that Elder Dragon, and that is a painful buff to have, especially when you look at the composition of Phelan. One Shock Blast or one of those tentacle lasers from ADM, there's going to be a massive true damage burn on you. It is so difficult to play against, and Phelan definitely in control of the game right now.
And if Phelan even want to play this slower, you've got a triple Mountain Drake with Elder Dragon and a Baron coming up in a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucian could solo Baron at that stage and point.
I think, so let's say you do 100 damage with an auto, you would do normal more at this point, but you would get 45 extra true damage. You're getting 45% extra true damage from this Elder, and that's not even including the burn. That's just from the Mountain Drake. So yes, this is a very fast dragon. I feel like at this point, you could probably just put all your pressure bot and have someone solo it, but I think Phelan's just going to put 5 members towards the top side of the map and have Aragon push on that bot side. TPs are coming up for both top laners soon, but for now, Bulldogs are looking for the engage before Aragon gets set up.
Yeah, but the teleports are coming up very soon, and it looks like Phelan are just going to really respect that engage coming out from Bulldogs. Aragon has managed to push this wave very quickly. Pings are going to be coming out soon because he has got the triple mountain. He's got the Elder. He can chunk through those turrets incredibly quickly.
I think crucially, I'm not sure if, because I know a Chu doesn't have the triple, the Elder buff. I think Aragon doesn't have it either.
Oh, Aragon might not have it,
so unfortunately,
actually, yeah.
but
still
which is probably the 2 best members you want to have it, so a bit unfortunate, but ADM having it, you can see how quickly this will burn down.
They haven't even got a Chu here, and a Chu steps in. Look at the damage that ADM is doing to that Baron.
That is a quick Baron. Probably one of the faster ones you'll see, but now Phelan have that, they're in control. They're going to start pushing towards your top side. They have the super minions in mid, and they have Aragon pressuring bot. Now, if I was Bulldogs, I would try and find a very fast engage, top or bot. Pick one, doesn't matter which. Looks like the pings are coming out bot lane. They're wanting to kill Aragon, so will he manage to escape this?
Well,
is the question.
They are setting up with Ego Speed, who's now moving
Yeah,
in, jumps in. There we go. There's the ultimate, potentially. Oriana's got the ball on herself. Late ultimate onto Aragon. Will he get away? He might even just get away. It was an awkward engage, and that is going to spell disaster as Phelan now find that place to strike. The Wolf bites through the top lane and picks up another inhibitor. A massive error from Coward and Ego Speed there.
Yeah, and Aragon able to survive that, and then, the engage actually comes in from Ego Speed. Will find him in the end, so a bit of a misplay, but even so, Phelan still very much in control of this game.
Oh,
Achu though.
Achu completely out of position, forced to flash. There's the ultimate, isolates the cat, a massive zoning. ADM ultimate gets a huge amount of damage done as Soft now pushes onto Gould and Coward. ADM picks up another kill, absolutely one-shots, and Phelan have shown the better of the dogfight. The Wolf beats the Bulldog, and they are now pushing down towards the Nexus.
Yeah, I don't think there's much they can do to stop this. 4 members pushing down. Gould and Ego Speed can try their best.
I don't think there's anything they can do. Gould's GA gets popped. Ego Speed just pop the stopwatch, but it is purely for show, as Phelan have the numbers advantage. They have the game in their hands, and despite a little bit of BM at the end, they pick up the win.
Yeah, and so it wasn't massively one-sided. There was definitely some life from Bulldogs, but I think Phelan, I've complained about them week in, week out. They haven't looked cohesive. They've played well individually, but not as a team. They changed that today.
Yeah.
They've changed that.
I think Phelan looked incredible, and congratulations to them. They are going to be advancing to tomorrow. They keep those hopes alive of putting the fate of the playoffs partially into their own hands.
Yeah, and I think more than ever, with how dicey things have been at the top end, sometimes when it gets towards playoffs, you think, okay, we won this game, but are we really going to make it? But now, things have been going really wrong for some of the teams, like XL, like Fnatic. So you could very realistically think, you know, if we just get a couple of good weeks behind us, we can make it to that top 4.
Yeah, I think pending what happens with the games through the rest of the day, remember, XL and Fnatic do have to pick up wins. Last week, they were knocked out in the round of 8, which was unusual for those teams. Let's have a look at the MVP for that game. It was... ding, 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 ding. Snugly, he picks up the MVP for that game on his Gragas. Great engages, great isolations. Just an all-round hero for the Bulldogs team.
I mean, the crucial things come up below, the vision score and the kill participation. This is one of the things that I was sort of saying Phelan needed a leader. And I feel like Snugly stepped up today because they seem like a team. And this is the first time I can say that they seem like a coordinated team. So credit to him. A good individual play, and it seemed like he brought the team together as well. So good on them.
Yeah, congratulations to Phelan, because they will be going through to our draw for tomorrow, where they'll be facing up the winners of the remaining games. We have coming up next M&M taking on Enclave, which is going to be an absolute brilliant display. I think that's going to be a really close one. Enclave obviously have been showing promise. M&M had a great week over the last 2 weeks of the UKLC. And then we're going to have XL then taking on Barrage, and then Fnatic taking on Darkspawn once again. I
mean, the next game is going to be a close one, no doubt. But those games 4 and 5, if you asked me before the split how close those games going to be, I'd be a bit like, not too much. But now I'm like,
especially the Barrage XL game,
anything can happen.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Barrage have shown, they have some standout players. I mean, Krumel, as he used to play on XL, has won the split. You have Artorias in the top lane, been around for years, has a brother called Prospect, if you didn't know. But they have this veteran roster, and I think that with XL's coming form, they could definitely challenge them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to be jumping to a very short break. When we're back, we'll be covering our next game, game 2 of the night, M&M taking on Enclave. We'll see you there.
Don't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, we're not going to break just yet.
Yeah,
we're going to dance.
We're chilling.
We were testing you.
Yeah, we're not going to break. You guys actually thought we were going to break.
No, that's not the real throw.
You fell for it.
That's not the real throw. The real throw is going to be something along these lines. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back after the break, we will be going to the next game in the series, M&M taking on Enclave. Yes, that will be coming up in just a few moments, and this is the real throw to break. Thanks, Borja.
Hopefully.